Hey everyone, it's Leo Young here with the J.T.A podcast episode. I think this is 13. This is going to be a little bit special actually because I'm by myself. Basically what had happened was I completely forgot that we're doing one today. So I had no time to prepare anyone else. So I might as well save them the trouble, do it myself. Which means it's probably going to go on for about, I want to say 20 minutes. But give me a second to stretch. And we can get right into it, because first of all, I want to talk about the Deadpool 2 trailer that came out, I think about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I was in school. So starting off with it, actually I'm gonna go off topic with myself. Deadpool itself is kind of having a couple issues, because while the Deadpool 2 trailer was awesome, it showed characters like Domino, Bedlam, who's played by Terry Crews, who I had no clue was in the movie, and then there's the Asian girl who I believe is Surge, but it was hard for me to tell. Surge is Asian, yes, they both have electricity, but Surge's hair is blue, her hair is purple. And Surge doesn't use a whip, so I was kind of like confused about it. But all in all, very excited to see that the X-Men are kind of coming in. However, like I was saying, Deadpool itself seems to be having like its own issues, if you know what I mean. And the recent news, Deadpool 2 itself is not, it doesn't seem like it's going to do well. Basically, give me a second to look up some of the notes. Essentially, people are like, Deadpool 2 is not doing as well. The rating isn't really helping out. They say, I'm sorry, I'm reading these notes. It says it's going to have a low box office predictions as a result of Star Wars and Avengers and other movies. Now, I cannot fully say that I understand how Star Wars would affect Deadpool, but I can tell you how Avengers would, because it's in the upcoming Avengers Infinity War movie, or maybe just oversaturation of the whole, comic book, or just the whole genre. Because I guess people also count Star Wars as comic booky, you know what I mean? But more people would see it as the movies. But then again, Star Wars is coming out every single year, and everything we've heard of Solo has been just bleh. But not just speaking about the movies, but the show itself. The Deadpool show that Disney was going to make was completely canned. And everyone's like, oh, it's so much crap that they canned it. But if you actually listen to the, but if you actually seen the final episode of the script that Donald Glover had posted, I kind of don't blame them for saying no to the show, because there is a legit joke where Jared Leto, Deadpool is commenting where he shoots a guy in the head. He's like, take notes, teachers, you're gonna have to make these kind of decisions in the future. Basically, he was making a joke about how teachers will have guns in the future, probably if Trump has his way. And like, while that's funny and cool, or just funny, I'm not gonna say cool, while that's funny, that's definitely not a show you're gonna have on Disney XD or Disney or anywhere. Like, I understand that Donald is trying to keep it's so weird. Sorry about that. I understand that Donald's trying to keep close to the character. However, he also should have, and I like his work, but he should have thought about that before he started writing for Marvel, because he has to remember, everything Marvel plays is on Disney or on YouTube, alright? And they're going to go, mainly it's going to be on the Disney Channel or Disney XD or wherever. So he can't be writing for a grown-up audience. It's not like, and I know what some of you are saying. Some of you are saying, they're just gonna have to put it on their streaming service. Ah, crap. Let me see. I believe it was either Marvel or Disney that came out and just straight up said, let me see. Here we go. Disney is not putting R-rated content on its streaming services, which includes Marvel and Star Wars. And I guess Jessica Jones, Daredevil, all those shows count as R-rated because of the violence and the cursing and all that. Which I hope not. Honestly, I don't know. I think they are just PG-13. Just a hard PG-13. But the Deadpool itself kind of feels like a high-quality, budgeted, basically like Futurama. But Futurama would go on Adult Swim or Comedy Central. Like those type of shows. That's where this Deadpool that Donald Glover was making belongs. And while I would have been excited to actually see the show, again, creative differences from Donald and Marvel come on, you have to think about it. It's not like you're going in blind. You have to remember who you're making this for. It's like, yes, it's for the comic book, not for, but like literally, like, who are you writing this for? You're writing it for that company. So at the same time, I guess I could also, no, I can't say I guess. I know I can also say Marvel should have done better, because it kind of feels like Marvel or Disney or whoever read the script didn't read it beforehand. They read, like, it was ready, it was greenlit, it was a go, and I guess someone in the studio went like, let me go read a script. Oh my goodness, no. This is not good. Donald, we can't do this. We're going to have to cut it out. And that's pretty much where they got off. So I guess it's also their fault for not, what I keep saying, I guess. It is also Marvel or Disney or whoever's fault for not actually instructing or helping to tell Donald, like, this is, what else does this guy go by? Jesus, this is, saying Donald is a weird name. Can I say Childish Gambino? I'm going to say Childish Gambino from now on. They should have basically just said Childish Gambino. Your real name, of course. We cannot have it like this. You have to make sure you tone it down and all of that other stuff. Because don't forget, we're putting this on Disney XD. And our streaming services, which we're not allowing R-rated content. Your stuff is R-rated. It's political, it's jarring, it does all of this stuff. Well, does that actually count as R-rating? No. But it did raise a good question in our Discord this afternoon, this morning. And the question was basically, because I've read a number of Deadpool comics over the years, but, and here's the thing, a lot of people go like, oh, but he's just keeping true to the character. But does Deadpool really do this type of thing? Like, does Deadpool actually make jokes about school shootings and all of that? I mean, well, not school shootings itself, but the result of it. You know what I mean? I know that he makes a lot of harsh jokes, but I have to sit down and think to myself, it's like, where's, like, even Ryan Reynolds' character didn't go all the way out. Like, yes, you can make a quick shot at Amy Winehouse, of course, but you can't, like, just pop out and go like, Harvey Weinstein and little girls. You can't just pop that out of nowhere. Like, that's not really, you see what I mean? Like, at what point does your writing change the character itself? Well, not the character itself, because, you know, at what point does your writing change a little bit about the character that doesn't make him the same as the comics anymore? But at the same time, I can also take extreme displeasure in saying I've seen the Ultimate Spider-Man version of Deadpool, which is complete crap. Whoa, Spider-Man, let's do it, yeah! And all that Ron Stoppable voice crap. So yes, I also see that Marvel or I don't know who to blame at this point. Whatever. They babyify every one of their characters. Even Venom isn't as scary. I don't know what happened, but Marvel's animation went, not just the animation, but the storytelling really did turn childish after the Spectacular Spider-Man. That's just my personal opinion. Alright, moving on from Deadpool, I want to go into a few Infinity War theories. Now, these are a few theories that, let me open my notes again, that me and Wicked had thought up. Not just me and Wicked, but the internet as well. A lot of people are saying that Hawkeye has the stone, the Soul Stone. Other people are saying Tony has the Soul Stone, and other people are saying Heimdall has the stone, the Soul Stone. And the reason is, well, there's three reasons. Heimdall, we're going to explain Heimdall's first, because his eyes turn orange. Done. The second one is Tony Stark. People believe that Tony Stark has had the stone for a while and just keeps it to himself, or something, because there was some product that came out basically explaining where every one of the stones was, kind of like there were certain characters who were in front of it, like the Guardians in front of a certain color. The Guardians were in front of purple, which would indicate the, what was it? Purple's the Power Stone, right? Yeah. Which indicates he's in front of the Power Stone. The Vision is in front of yellow, which indicates the Mind Stone, and so on and so forth. So you understand, Tony Stark is in front of the orange, so everyone's all of a sudden thinking, oh, this is the Soul Stone, which it could be true. But I don't know, I just feel like, because Marvel, Disney, I'm gonna say Marvel from now on, because Marvel has now come out and basically said, we film fake scenes so people don't know what's going on. If they are willing to film fake scenes, I do believe they are willing to basically come out and like start selling fake product to throw you off track. I'm just saying, if I was in Marvel and I was one of the Russo brothers or someone who was in charge of marketing, I'd be like, we should lie to them. Not everything is as it seems. Yes, Tony may know where the stone is, but he's not in possession of it. And mainly because one thing you noticed about all of the stones. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I should talk about the Captain America. No, Hawkeye. Hawkeye has the stone because he hasn't been showing up. Also, there's this weird thing where you spell Thanos out. It kind of like, oh, T stands for something. H stands for Hawkeye, which is the Soul Stone. And it's like, whatever. Sure it is. I feel, and this is just me going, that this was my original theory. Captain America is the Infinity Stone, or he is the Soul Stone. See, my theory is, it's not like he has the physical Soul Stone. I think the Soul Stone, because here's where I was trying to go to. Wherever we saw one of the Infinity Stones, they were in a containment unit. Something was housing it. The blue stone was inside the Tesseract, right? The ether was in that cloud thing. Excuse me. The purple one was in the ball, and you get what I'm saying. Each one of these things are in a containment, so they aren't overpowered or killing people. Now, I'm not saying that like Captain America has it, but what if the Soul Stone is literally within one of the most purest... Sorry, I'm doing this weird noise if you hear it. What if Captain America is in... No, what if the Soul Stone is in one of the most purest souls on the planet or in the universe, which could look towards Captain America? Like, what if he is the literal gate to the Soul Stone? Like, it hides in your soul. That would be the containment unit for it. That's just me saying, because I was about to say it's the most powerful stone because it brings people back from dead, but at the same time, it's like there's also the Time Stone, which is with Steven. So, you get what I'm saying. Each stone is in a containment unit. So, my personal opinion, or my personal theory, Steve has it, Captain America has it, but he doesn't know it. That's why he's able to hold off Thanos and the other stones. But at the same time, there's just so much, because there's a drawing that also explains that each stone kind of works off with another. You can't have like one specific I don't know. Listen, I don't know. These are just my theories. I don't know why, but one of my notes says life. I guess I'm just supposed to talk about my life, but since it's just me, there's really nothing else to talk about. How far are we into this podcast? We are actually 13 minutes. That's actually not bad. Before I start, clipping out stuff. Alright, I wanted to talk about the Fortnite crossplay, the pros and cons about it. Honestly, there's not that many cons. I guess you could say the people who use hacking, excuse me, the people who probably use hack bots on the PC come over, but I'm not 100% sure if hack bots also exist on the PlayStation. If they do not, then I can understand how PC players coming in with bots and all that is crap. But if it's on equal footing, it's crap for everyone. Oh man, there was another topic. Crap, I knew I should have wrote it down. I had it in my hand. Sorry about that, I had a burp. But yeah, I guess for life, actually, I feel like I could talk about, not life, but like at least part of my work schedule or something like that. What I mean is, so a couple of podcasts, I do admit that we do write our own little fan fiction, our own lore, stuff like that. I wouldn't even call it fan fiction anymore. It's lore for us, or mythos. And essentially, I haven't been writing as much. Alright, I started out the whole series in 2007, not literal, but like the year starts of the story is 2007, ends in 2014, whole major battle, whole thing. But basically, I have 7 years to fill up. I've filled up 2 of the years, maybe 3 of the years. I'm going on 2000, I think I'm in 2010. But right now, our website has a whole bunch of bios. If you've ever been to the website, link down in the description below. Well, we have a whole bunch of bios, and it's basically my job to go down and start filling up each bio. Each bio is blacked out until it's filled, which then turns white. Problem about it is there is 126 characters that I've created. Well, no. Let me rephrase that. There is 100 and probably 13 characters I've created. The rest are actual people. But at the same time, I also have to take into account the people who no longer play DC Universe Online. And, oh my goodness gracious. It's a lot of work. It's annoying, but I get it done. But speaking of DC Universe Online, yesterday or today, the new DLC, the Aquaman DLC came out yesterday, today, whatever. And I get to play it. But personally, it's as much as Aquaman is cool, I'm not a fan of the guy, so I'm not going to like hop back into DC Universe Online just to play it. But I'm very glad to see that Daybreak is actually coming out and exploring a little bit of Atlantis. However, while it is great, I also have a little bit of a problem with the fact that it has Starro attacking Central City again, as if that didn't happen 2 months ago. I'm not saying that Daybreak is running out of ideas, because they're not. They came up with this great story based off of something that's actually pretty recent in the DC Comics, the Delusion, the Del, based on some Aquaman script. And like I was saying, it's not enough to pull me in. I'm not a fan of Aquaman. I much rather have an extended story of Central City or something. Not even just that, or just new mechanics that help the game expand. All right. So far, you come into the game is the same. That's the sad part. If you really sit down and think about it, the game is the exact same. It's stale. Like even the little boxes, the loot crates that you get are pretty much the same. They just give you different gear. But other than that, it's like you have to wait a couple months for a new DLC, new downloadable content, a new raid, a new alert, a new solo, a new alert, or new duo, all those type of things. But how long until it just starts to dry out? Because I'm sorry, the thing that's running in my mind is like I have to sit down and think about it. How many times do I play the game and I do a mission and I run through the exact same layout? Like they reuse places. Remember, like the idea in my head right now is that duo where you go and fight Hawkman and Heatwave and some evil demon at the end. And essentially that building is the same building you used way earlier in the game and in a raid, and it's just like it's like I'm trying to get to. DC Universe Online really is feeling the same. The only new things are the DLC. And if you really, I honestly do wonder and question how people continue to find interest in the game, because recently the news dropped, SWTOR, Star Wars The Old Republic, is getting canned. It's getting, the servers are shutting down. And I'll get into that in a second. But for DC Universe Online, it's just, I don't blame Daybreak, to be honest. I do not blame Daybreak for the game. I blame DC or Warner Brothers, because the thing about it is this was not Sony or Daybreak's like IP. They're working with a company, and if the company says they don't want this story or this mission or this type of plot to come through, Daybreak has to literally sit down and go like, all right, I guess we got to change up. Give me a second, gotta take a sip. Oh god, it's flat. Oh, it's so flat. It's like baby chest. It's flat. Anyways, like I was saying, they do not have full, complete creative control of anything. Not just anything. I'm pretty sure they have complete creative control of some things, but the overall thing, they have to run it past DC or Warner Brothers. And if they go like, we don't want this, they don't want this. I'm pretty sure, not pretty sure, but I feel like a lot of the times, let me think. The reason they can't change the color of the lightning is probably the speedster lightning is probably because Warner Brothers just straight up doesn't want you to. They don't want, like, the ideal speedster for DC has the lightning running, because before you could turn off the lightning. A long time ago you could turn off the lightning. At least I've seen a video where some dudes were running around without the lightning, but this was a long time ago. Like I said, but DC basically went like, the quintessential speedster has lightning. But it's kind of curious, because I wonder if DC is also going to come out and say, okay, speedsters have lightning. Are these speedsters connected to the Speed Force? Because if they are, that would be pretty interesting. That'd be awesome. Because like I feel like they should let Daybreak sit down and run loose. Because imagine this. Imagine a storyline, alright, where someone's like, oh, we're going to destroy the Speed Force. Cool. And it's like, hey, you have some friends who are speedsters. If the Speed Force is destroyed, their powers go away. I would love them to at least like do something fun, like explain to people like speedsters don't have like the full Speed Force. They get like 1%, no, not even 1%, 0.1% of this power of the Speed Force. That's why they can run it like half of like Mach 0.5. That would be pretty awesome. Not great, but pretty awesome. But I've run out of topics about DC Universe Online, because I really do want to switch over to SWTOR and why I feel that it is failing or it's going to shut down. essentially, if you've never played SWTOR, it's a MMO about Star Wars, but it's not what you think it is. It's an MMO about Star Wars based on a 2-part game series that was released mid 2000s called Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, or KOTOR. And basically, the way the devs had originally thrown SWTOR out, Star Wars the Old Republic, is that Star Wars the Old Republic is Knights of the Old Republic 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that's awesome. That's great. It had all of these great story plots, all of these amazing characters. You can't, like, what's the word I'm looking for? If you make choices, the choices stay with you. You can replay the game, but the first choice you ever made will come back to bite you in the behind later on. Now, the reason all this failed, because I know you're like, oh wow, that sounds awesome, that sounds great, this is so cool. The reason it failed is because they're creating an MMO on an RPG game. And like, you're probably like, oh well, that doesn't make sense. A lot of games do that. No. You see, a majority of the player base came from an RPG only game. We've all, not all of us, but most of us played Knights of the Old Republic 1 and Knights of the Old Republic 2. That was literally just us playing by ourselves, making friends with the NPCs and all that, getting involved with the story. And then when SWTOR drops, we jump in there like, oh wow, it's going to be the exact same thing, just I can start fighting people or playing with other people. But the devs, and excuse me, sorry about that, but BioWare, it's the company, is basically having to juggle if they want the game to be RPG, which is the original game players, or if they want to focus more on the MMO aspect, which is everyone. And a lot of the time it kind of messes up, because there are these high level missions, and I hear it all the time. Some people are like, yeah, I beat this raid by myself with me and a companion. Oh, you probably know what a companion is. Me and a companion beat this raid by ourselves. A raid usually costs, like, not costs, but it usually makes up about 4 to 8 people, if I'm correct. And if you can beat that by yourself, it's like so a lot of people, that came off as the devs made this raid specifically for you to solo it, so the game would be RPG based, not MMO. I'm sorry. It's just like, they had so much to do. If they had made like this game first and then Knights of the Old Republic like after, if Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 came out as like prequels to SWTOR, which they are, but what I mean is, like, if SWTOR came out first and then they made these 2 spin-off series, I feel like that'd be more acceptable. But when you start the series off on like a solo campaign, which I can't even begin to explain it, but the game Knights of the Old Republic is so strongly based around a singular player. And the problem with that is you're trying to recreate that, but in an MMO. And now it's starting to hurt them, and BioWare must have just been like, we're done. We can't keep pushing it. We can't keep doing it. We have to pull out, close down the servers. Maybe I hear there's talks that they're going to close down the servers, but you can still play the game. You just be playing it solo. And while that's pretty awesome, that would be a pretty cool thing, it'll get boring real quick, because you have to imagine or think about, like, it's a MMO game. The worlds are large, alright? It's a large game. If you close down, like, the servers and you let people, like, play it by themselves, and I know it's impossible. Not impossible, but highly unlikely. 95% unlikely it's going to happen. If you have that structure, it's like you lose league stuff, you lose guild stuff, you lose, I'm going to take a guess, you lose a lot of player housing and stuff like that. But also, it's just like the game itself is so massive and large, within like a couple days, you'll get bored. And bored because, wow, I ran from one side of Coruscant to the other, didn't see a single person. All I heard was the ambient background noise, which isn't fun for anyone. That would just like ruin the game experience, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion. Why am I just saying mine? I keep sounding like I'm the most important person in the world. Give me a second, gotta stretch. But yeah, reaching the 26-minute mark, I have some stuff to clear out, so actually I think this would be a good place to stop. Let me see, do I have anything else to talk about? No, I guess not. I feel like I shouldn't talk about this, but yeah, I got time. I'll end this at like 30 minutes before the editing. So, essentially, I know we keep talking about this, but we are very curious or interested to do gameplay, not just of DC Universe Online, but other games like for the Xbox, the PlayStation, Sea of Thieves, Friday the 13th, stuff like that. We're very interested in playing those type of games. Now, the issue with that is these things. It's not the price. It's just that we don't really know how to do the multiple screens and all that. Like it's a lot of work. It'll take us more time than it's worth. However, we would love to make these things. We would love to make this type of content. However, we don't know if we have the following. You know what I mean? It would probably take us we'd probably play a game, because the amount of times we played Fortnite, but something happens like, oh, I've lost my audio, or oh, Orbital lost his gameplay because it didn't actually like record, because you can't trust the PlayStation, because a lot of times you'll double click the button, the share button or whatever, and it'll be like and it'll say, oh, we're recording, but it's like you don't know how to. A lot of people don't know how to stop it, and you'll basically like, okay, I guess I double click it and then it'll turn it off. It's like, no, it'll probably just like keep playing. It's a whole thing. Well, the reason I'm telling you this is because if we feel like we have the following, like, hey, if 20 people want to actually see us play a game, that would be great. We have 19 subscribers, but like legit, if 20 people go like, hey, we wouldn't mind watching you guys play a game, that would be legit. Because we also plan on not just doing like group plays, we want to do solo plays, duo plays, alert plays. No, alert plays is just group. Alert is a 4-man thing from DC Universe Online. I'm pretty sure it's from a lot of games. But essentially, we do want to just do gameplay. No, I keep saying that wrong. Not just gameplay, but we want to branch out and do more than just the podcast. We want to do more than just a couple JT plays every couple of weeks. We have to do, personally, and I hope you guys are listening to this, we have to do a hell of a lot better at managing how we do this. I do feel like we need to set up like some schedules, because a lot of times, like even today's podcast, I completely forgot that I had posted the last podcast 2 weeks ago. So this is podcast week. I completely forgot and overran that. Hold up. Okay, cool. I completely forgot and overlooked it. So yeah, we really need to step up our game on how we like do dates, to do voice recording, to do video recording, how we gotta work this out, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot harder than it looks. It's a lot of work, and the reason it's a lot harder is because I also have to, like, you have to realize it's not just me. I'm managing like 4 other people who's involved with this, and I don't even know who wants to be involved. But I'm also saying this because I want like the viewers, the people who are listening to this, and the people who normally join the podcast to understand and hear it all. So if you are interested in seeing some gameplay or all that, please leave a like. If we get like 4 likes, that'd be fucking awesome. 4 likes from people who are not in this group, who are not normally in the Discord. Anyways, I see that we have reached the 30 minutes and 20, I'm gonna say 5 seconds. If you are still here and still listening, I want to say thank you very much. It's very appreciated, to be honest. The notes that I had are not like in great detail. The notes are just like a single sentence made of 7 words, and it's like, talk about this, and it's like, I'll start it off, throw opinions around, but this time I had to do it by myself, so I have to apologize on my end. I have to start setting up, I probably have to start setting up like personal notes. It's like, oh, talk about this, here are your points that you normally would like to talk about, just in case this ever happens again. But other than that, again, thank you very much for staying and listening. If you want to show support for the channel and everything we do, please like, comment, and subscribe. Or if you want to help out and pay for our bills and everything else, please hit us up on Patreon at www.patreon.com/justicteens. JK, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. We do not have a Patreon. I've actually been asked that once. It's like, are you guys really playing your Patreon? It's like, we don't have one. Personally, I do not believe we make enough content to prove that we have a Patreon yet. But one day, hopefully, fingers crossed, It's not like to pay our bills. It's like to pay people to help us out. Like, hey, we need some channel art or stuff like that. No, not just channel art, but like it's an example. It's like we're definitely going to need more than just channel art, or do more than just channel art. But that's actually a secret that I cannot talk about. Anyways, hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, once again, I'm Leo Young. This is the J.T.A podcast, episode 13 or 14. I forgot. And I want to say sorry one last time, and I'll see you in the I'll see you in the next one. Peace.